my name is Roger Swords with Archbase Corp here in Japan. Today we're at Shofuen, where we're going to be making several videos about Japanese building and architecture. We hope you enjoy them. Please check them out. Thank you. Hey, Hiro!
こんにちは。
あ、こんにちは。
今日はよろしく。
今日はよろしくお願いします。
はい。
So, this is Hiro. So again, he's our founder and lead architect. And we're going to be shooting a series of videos for our guests overseas. One of the things we hope that builders and architects will get out of this videos is some of the differences between Japanese architecture and building and some of the design ideas that maybe can be used in your country. So, Hiro, この部屋は何ですか？
日本で普通使われている部屋で和室と言います。
Washitsu. Is a Washitsu Japanese room?
そ
Okay. 日本人はどういうふうに使いますか？ Washitsu.
う。ここは2つの部屋分かれて、いろんな宴会とかいろんな会議とかもできるし、広いスペースで使う。でこういうドアを使うと2つの寝室としても使えるようにいろんなその自由が利く部屋として使われています。
Okay. So here's just saying that one of the reasons why they have Washitsu is it's a very functional room. で、Washitsu はみんな持ってますか？
大体ありますね。
So most Japanese homes will have a Washitsu, this Japanese style room. It's a tatami, basically it's a tatami room like this, where they can greet guests and they will often have a snack or maybe a cup of tea in the Washitsu. And if they have a guest that stays the night, they can put out a futon here, futon bed, and the guest can stay the night. And what he was explaining is this room is very functional because you can open up these doors like this, and you can create a bigger space. These doors actually you can remove, and if you have a big party or a big meeting, you can have a big party here. So, この部屋だったらどのぐらい広さですか？
そうですね。ここ全部で使うとすれば多分20人ぐらい入って使うことができる。
So he's explained this room here is big enough to have a party of maybe 20 or 30 people in this room.
それと畳はやっぱり柔らかい。だからお年寄りにも怪我しにくいし、子供が遊んでも柔らかいから怪我しない。
So here just explains something really interesting about Washitsu rooms. So the reason why many families have a Washitsu is because it's very good for elderly people and for children. So often children will use this room because the tatami grass is very soft. Children will use tatami for playing. If they fall down, they're not going to hurt themselves. And you said also for elderly people. So for the elderly, if you have obviously your parents living here, and maybe they fall down, they're not going to hurt themselves because this is very soft. 畳は断熱材です。
断熱で同じ。冬でも温度変わらない。
温度変わらない。
で夏も涼しい。
夏涼しい、冬は暖かいですか。So he was also explaining the reason why they choose tatami is that in winter it's very warm, and in the summertime it's very cool. So that's another good functional point of tatami. So Hiro, 日本人はこの部屋の使い方はもうさっき言ったけど、もう客様とか、近所さんとか、パーティーとか、
寝室とか、いろいろ。
So one of the reasons we're going back to is that the reason why they have this room is that a big part of Japanese architecture and design is creating functionality. So be able to create a space and have a space that has multiple functions. So be able to have a diversity of functions is a big part of Japanese architecture. So that's great, thank you. I want to ask you one more thing. I noticed there's no nuts here. So fushi はないですね。
そう、和室は表に出てきてる木にもう全然節がないように仕上げてます。裏に使うやつは節があって、表に出てくる部分はもう全然節がない。
こういう木は何ですか？
松と杉とヒノキを使う。
So usually in a Japanese washitsu, they're using cedar. This is here is cedar, or they will use cypress. Cypress has a little bit deeper color than the sugi, but they will usually use the cedar. And one of the things you notice on these boards, you don't see any knots in the boards. So in a washitsu, if it's a real washitsu, the builders or carpenters will make sure that there's no knots in the boards. There will be knots on the other side. So if we look on the other side, there will be knots. But you can even see here, there's not many knots. They're very careful. So if there are knots, the knots will be showing on the other side, where you can't see them. So I think this is really interesting, Hiro. So for us in the West, sometimes we don't pay attention to these small details. But here today, we were going through and we were naming all these different parts of the washitsu. This is something very interesting. とても面白いですね。多分外国人にとってこういう細かい部分が気づけないから結構面白いですね。
ああ、なるほどね。
なんで日本の建築がそういう細かいことが気づけますか？
多分やっぱり日本って台風とか地震とか四季、暑くたり寒かったり雪が降ったりとか大雨が降ったりってすごく過酷な環境で、やっぱりこういかに建物を守るかっていうところで、こういうジョイントとかそのつなぎ目とかは全てその木組みっていう大工さんのその技術で成り立っているから、多分小さいことが大きくそのためになる、だと思う。
So he's kind of explaining that the traditional carpenters, because they had to, a lot of these pieces are handcrafted, that they had to pay attention to the small details. So you can see that this room here, it's not just one piece of wood, not just one piece of lumber. There's a lot of small little pieces. And you can see it here on these shoji doors. There's a lot of small pieces that go into this. So because they're paying attention to these small details, it's almost like building a puzzle, where if you're used to handcrafting these small pieces, you take pride in them and they have to get them just right and they have to be just perfect. So that is one reason why they pay attention to these small details. 日本の気遣いは何ですか？確か気遣いって聞いたことある。
気遣いはちょっと言えば大工さんがサプライズ的、お客さんに対してサプライズ的なその作り込みをしたりして差し出したものをやっぱりこう、例えばエアコンの室外機とかはモダンでしょ。で古い家と合わないからカバーをして古い家に合わせるカバーを作ったりする、そういう気遣い、そういうすること。
We're talking about kizukai, and he was explaining how Japanese architects and builders, they will try to go the extra mile to make sure that the final product looks right. So for example, if you have an old building that you're renovating and there's an new air conditioner that they're using, modern day air conditioner, they will actually build a handcrafted wood box and stain it and make sure that it matches that old building, and they will cover that air conditioner to make sure that it matches the actual building that they're renovating. So that's an example of Japanese kizukai. 今日、ヒロ、ありがとうございます。
楽しかった？
楽しかった。So, Hiro, thank you very much for today.
こちらこそありがとうね。
またよろしくお願いします。
はい、わかりました。
Okay, so today we were lucky to have the opportunity to meet Hiro and ask him some questions about Japanese traditional rooms called Washitsu. And I think the big takeaway for builders and architects and designers overseas is that Washitsu is a space that's very versatile. The reason why they have this space is it's a space that can be used to meet their neighbors. It's a space where they can actually have their friends over to have a cup of tea, have a snack. It's a place where children can play. It's a place where, you know, people can gather together. It's a very functional space. So it's about building in that functionality into the design, which is one of the reasons why they have the Washitsu. I think another important takeaway for Washitsu is the way that Japanese designers and architects, they pay attention to the small details. And we talked about the different pieces that it takes to make a Washitsu, and how, you know, even the surface of the wood, there's not a lot of knots showing. They really pay attention to the small details, which I think is another interesting thing. You know, sometimes when we are building homes, we don't always pay attention to the small details, and I think it's important that they often pay attention to the small details. So, thanks for watching our video, and we hope to catch you next time. Thanks. Okay, so thanks for watching this video today. We hope you enjoy it. If you like this video, please check out our YouTube channel and subscribe. We'll catch you next time. Bye.